Welcome to this edition of ABI's Quick Fit video series. My name is Lisa Fox, and I am here with Rush Nigut with the Gentry firm. And we are talking about something that's pretty prevalent here in the state of Iowa and probably all over the country. Wage and hour lawsuits. You could be next.
Oh, definitely. This is a very overlooked issue for most employers. A lot of experts believe that about 70% of businesses are out of compliance with wage and hour laws, and plaintiffs' attorneys are licking their chops for these kinds of cases.
And we've got specific examples of companies right here in Iowa that have suffered, right?
Yeah, companies such as Casey's and Hy-Vee have faced employment wage and hour lawsuits.
I'm assuming, since you're an attorney, there are some things that we can put in place to avoid this. So you talk here about conducting a wage and hour review. Can you speak to that?
Well, with so many companies out of compliance with wage and hour laws, it's critically important for businesses to conduct wage and hour reviews. They should have an employment attorney or other expert come in and take a look at the pay practices and determine whether or not they're in compliance.
And then you talk about training your managers. Now, are they training managers on the wage and hour reviews or other tactics?
Well, it's more about the hiring process, how you're going to set up pay practices. A lot of the managers determine salary or wages, and so it's important that they have a good understanding of wage and hour laws so that the business can be in compliance.
And part of that is analyzing the exempt versus non-exempt status.
Yeah, what happens is that many employers think about salary or non-salary. And they don't think about exempt, which are employees who typically aren't paid overtime, or non-exempt, which are employees who typically are entitled to be paid overtime. And it's also interesting, and I hear it all the time, I'll hear employers say, well, he's a 1099 employee. Well, there's no such thing as a 1099 employee. It's either an independent contractor or an employee, and you don't want to confuse the two.
Very good advice. Now, you say here to take complaints on wage issues seriously. Are there folks that don't?
Well, I think a lot of times that businesses are just overlooking this issue. What's happening is that they'll take discrimination and harassment cases very seriously, but the wage and hour cases are kind of put on the back burner. But I think with the recent cases that have been in the headlines, I mean, there have been companies, AT&T, for example, had a $1 billion lawsuit filed against them on wage and hour claims. You'll find that businesses are going to take this much more seriously in the future.
And it says not to retaliate.
Just like everything else in an employment context, if somebody complains, you do not retaliate against them. It's just critically important because, even if their claims aren't well-founded, the retaliation claim could be. So it's just like anything else in the employment context.
And again, a basic point here, but develop strong policies on wage and hour, right?
Right, and that goes with the review. After the review, especially, make sure that your wage and hour policies are sound and that you're following them. Don't vary from them once you have them in place. Make sure those managers are trained, and then you can start to avoid these kinds of lawsuits.
Fantastic. Great points. Again, pay attention to wage and hour. It's a big issue. So thanks for being here, Rush. Rush has a great blog called Rush on Business. And so Google that and you'll find it. It's great information on all things business related. Rush and Gentry are part of ABI's Advisory Council. The council meets monthly to identify issues facing Iowa companies and then develop solutions to solve them. So we appreciate your participation there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.